Hi, this is Shadi. I promise the title isn't rage bait, it's just, I think it's a very important thing to discuss, especially the younger you start, the better this thing is. I do believe that Judo is a better foundation if you want to be a better grappler in general, and also just how you handle yourself just in case something happened. Newaza or the ground, you have your whole life to work on it because it is a very controlled environment. Shozo Awazu Awazu was going up until I think his 90s and still teaching a Newaza. You can't really do that standing up, but you know, from a very young age, it's better to start with the stand up. So before we talk about all of this, don't forget to check out my book, The Origins and History of Judo, a translation of a manuscript from 1903. So today's topic is going to be Fabricio Andre, and here he starts with this amazing foot sweep. So clears the path for his opponent to go forward. Now, Deashi Harai, or a foot that is coming out that you sweep, is the basic form is this one, where you make way and you get them to go forward and diagonally and sweeping one foot. So, but however, a lot of the time, especially in no-gi with the collar tie, you get to see something that looks like this, where they go forward, and instead of pushing the sleeve, of course, you push on the neck. And I do believe that having this particular takedown skill and throwing skill has helped Andre tremendously as compared to someone who doesn't know how to throw. And you can be a world champion in jiu-jitsu without knowing a single throw, as Danaher says. However, it's a whole complete expression that you need to have. The more the better, obviously, the more tricks up your sleeve. So here against Bodoni, a much larger opponent. Bodoni, a champion in his own right. Here, look at this, reaps and gets him over from an overhook, hooks the leg, and then from here, because Bodoni is very not willing to let go of his grip, he didn't need too much wrist grip, and that ultimately helped him. Now, it's always a pleasure to see a much larger opponent being thrown with Uchimata, and here we see Keiji Suzuki pushing on the head circularly as if you're steering a wheel, and then punching downwards, and then reaping the thigh and going up, which helps him get that lift. So the hands simultaneously with the reaping foot created that big throw. Now, because it was no gi, we have to look a little bit at Satoshi Ishi. So you have the underhook here, and you kind of push your wrist outward in order to get that unbalancing, and then from there, very similar to Suzuki, where you push them forward in a way to unbalance them, and then you work simultaneously on the leg level. So it's a whole process of synchronicity that you have to look out for. You can't just work the legs alone, and you cannot just work the upper body alone. So it's a very difficult throw to land, and it's very nice to see it at such high level, not only in judo, but of course jiu-jitsu as well. So again, the point of this video is that you need to be confident in your stand-up. The earlier, the better. I know some people just get into martial arts later in life, and that's also fine. But if you are young, if you have kids, better to start them, in my opinion, with judo or wrestling, and then they have their entire life to work on the ground skill, because it's a much more controlled environment. While the explosiveness, how to enter, how to be very fluid in the entry, that takes years and years and years to master. And I can understand why in jiu-jitsu they don't do it, because 2 points is not really worth the trouble. Nobody understands just how much time and repetition it takes to land even something as simple as the ko uchigari you see here in front of you. So I understand why people just want to sit down. They want to take away all this capabilities from their opponent. But something happens, God forbid, or maybe you want to go to MMA, whatever, you will need that takedown, wrestler or judoka. Now, in jiu-jitsu, there is throwing, obviously, but it's not the emphasis, it's not the priority. But since you have room for it, I encourage all of you to have that one good throw or two good throws, and please work them, even if your main priority is the ground. So here, this is Oshiro Goshi. I really like it because you don't have to sacrifice yourself back and then try to climb up. You can land in a very favorable position. It's really a bump in the hips and then a slam with the hand as you rotate. And then here you're in a very favorable position regardless of the discipline. So I really like his either single leg entry or kosoto entry, and from it he would actually do a type of entry, and here a massive hip throw. So hip throw are very good because they're very easy to learn. And you can learn it in your first class of judo, in my opinion. Obviously, to land it in sparring is a different conversation, but to learn the premise of this is much easier than other throws, and it's very important to have a throw in general. So it's one of those throws that you can just land on your first day, and also it's devastating, and you can do it with a lot of control, or you can just absolutely plant them down. So it's one of those throws that easy and very effective at the same time. And here you can see Andre did a massive hip throw. So, and since there's no gi, you can easily wrap the hand around the back. No need for lapels or adjustments like Uchimata. And so here, for example, you see the kosoto that took him to the back. A lot of people do this in judo for uranage or suplex. And here also, like I said, not just judo, but good wrestling as well is always a good foundation, especially for young, upcoming kids and athletes. So the idea of this video is very simple. Work on everything that requires a lot of repetition and explosiveness first, especially the younger you are, and then later on add, for whatever reason, self-defense, you want to be a competitor in jiu-jitsu, you want to go into MMA, whatever it may be. In my opinion, first the stand-up, and then later get better with age through the groundwork. So if you have anything to add, let me know down below. Don't forget to check out my book. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.